Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our family service and Mother's Day service. And of course, we have to say, yay, Bulls. Last night, they won the NCAA Men's Volleyball Championship, the national championship, in 3 games. What a sweep. So it started the weekend off with a high note. So this morning, let's calm down a little bit. Okay. The ringing of the kansho signifies the start of the service, so please sit quietly. Please rise for the meditation, followed by the chanting of the Pali and English of the Vandana Ti-Sarana by the congregation. It may be found in the Praises of the Buddha, page 165.
Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda.
Thank you. Please be seated. Please turn to page 54. Oh, Sensei will do an aspiration.
I thought you forgot. Put our hands together. You know you're young to your mother when she wants to hold your hand to cross the road. You know your mother is old to you when you want to hold her hand to cross the road. You know it's not too late when you can still cross hand in hand. Is it not time to guide each other to cross the sea of samsara together? Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you. Please turn to page 54 in the red Jodo Shinshu service book for the Sutra Juseige.
Namanda Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Tochimyo
Please rise and turn to page 2 in the red Jodo Shinshu service book for the recitation of the Homages, page 2. Homages. Hard it is to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult it is to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear them. If we do not gain emancipation in this present life, we may not be free from ill-faring in the ocean of births and deaths for kalpas. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures. We go to the Buddha
for guidance. May we always walk in the way that leads to enlightenment. We go to the Dharma for guidance. May we be submerged in the depth of the teachings and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. We go to the Sangha for guidance. May we all in one accord live the life of harmony in the spirit of oneness, free from the bondage of selfishness.
Even through myriads of kalpas, hard it is to hear such excellent and profound teachings. Now we are able to hear and receive them. Let us try to understand the Tathagata's teachings.
Namo Abhidhammas. Namo.
Please stand for the Gatha Shinshu Anthem on page 147 in the brown Praises of the Buddha book. Again, that's page 147. Thank you. Please be seated. Our guest speaker this morning is Mrs. Nancy Shimamoto. Reverend will do the introduction.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you, as always, each Sunday. And happy Mother's Day to all, even to us men. So this morning, you know, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our very special speaker, Nancy Shimamoto, who's a past president of the Mo'ili'ili Hongwanji, where I served for several years. Good to see you again. So Nancy was born and raised in the coffee fields of Kona. In the fields you were born? So it is on the Big Island. She attended Sunday school at the Kona Hongwanji Buddhist Temple and enjoyed being a member of the junior YBA, where she learned fellowship and leadership skills that lasted her a lifetime. She attended college in a small town outside of Kansas City, Missouri, where she obtained her Bachelor of Science degree in education. Then she returned to Hawaii, where she was a teacher at elementary schools throughout Oahu for 27 years. And while still teaching, she attended evening and summer classes at UH Manoa and received her master's degree in educational administration. She then served as vice principal and principal of several Oahu schools and retired as the principal of the Aina Haina Elementary School in Honolulu. Nancy and her husband Roy was a retired health physicist. Yeah, he's talented, yeah? He's a physicist, football player, baseball player. They have 3 sons and 3 grandchildren. And they all go to Punahou. Boo. Nancy's favorite pastimes are reading best-selling novels, watching Korean drama, and enjoying family and friends. She serves as a volunteer at the Kuakini Medical Center and is chairman of the Kuakini Foundation and has been a director of the Kuakini Health System Board for many years. Please welcome Nancy. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend Bert, for your nice introduction, although I wrote it out for you. Reverend Bert and I served together at Mo'ili'ili Hongwanji. He was the minister and I was the president. And we did a lot of things because it didn't take very long before we decided on something. We'd just get the whole board on board and things were done very, very quickly. So I'm so happy that he's here with you at Kailua, or I should say, Windward Buddhist Temple. Oh my goodness, very modern. Well, I'm very honored to be a guest speaker on this very special Sunday, Mother's Day. Did you know that Mother's Day officially became a holiday in the United States in 1914? Coincidentally, that was the same year my mother was born. So let's do a quick check. If you can, please stand if you are a mother. And I don't mean the men, you know, that try to be mothers. Okay, so if you look at them very carefully, these are mothers who have been serving their families as the family caregiver, the family, the caring one of the family, you might say. So all of you who are still seated, can you give them all a very nice round of applause? These are our mothers. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you. So here's another check. Raise your hand. You don't have to stand. Just raise your hand if your mother is still living. Wow, thank you. You are so lucky. Treasure her. I read somewhere that only a mother carries you in her tummy for 9 months. then carries you in her arms for about 3 years until you get a little too heavy. And then she carries you in her heart forever. I love that very much. Each of us has a story to tell about our mother. Each is very unique and special with feelings of love, happiness, sadness, and unrepeatable moments all woven neatly into the fabric called mother. My talk today, of course, is about my mother, who has influenced and inspired me with her strength, determination, and unbelievable resilience. I believe I am who I am because she truly cared and loved me. She gave me a pat on my back, a hug, an idea, or a challenge that ignited a flame in me. A Buddhist proverb, you've heard this many times, states, "Thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared." End of quote. My mom was and still is that single candle, burning brightly and showing me the way in times of joy or darkness. 7 years ago, in 2015, I did a talk on Mo'ili'ili Hongwanji's White Way radio broadcast. I struggled to find an appropriate topic. While I was searching the back burners of my mind, I happened to look down at my hands on the computer keyboard. I had an aha moment. My topic was clearly in front of me. My mother's hands. Think about your mother's hands. Family and friends who knew my mother often liked to remind me how much I look like my mother. And now I think my hands are looking more and more like her hands too. Although my mom passed away in 2001 at age 86, there are times when I remember my mother's hands vividly, particularly in Gassho. My mother, Aiko Kusano Yamane of Kona, was a very devout Jodo Shinshu Buddhist during her lifetime. She was active at the Kona Hongwanji Buddhist Temple. She truly believed in the Nembutsu, placing her hands together and reciting Namo Amida Butsu in the morning, in the evening, and any other time when she felt the need to do so. We grew up following her practice of placing her hands together in Gassho in front of the Butsudang at home, at meal times, and in Sunday school. How she raised my 3 sisters and me on a coffee farm in Kona is amazing, as she herself was orphaned at age 6, widowed at age 49, and had only an 8th grade education. I am the oldest of 4 daughters, so I was my mom's first experiment as a mother. What I learned and experienced, she was right there to learn and experience along with me, supporting me in all that I did. She took great interest in my involvement and participation in school activities, 4-H club projects, Sunday school, and junior YBA. She encouraged me, she helped me, and shared in my disappointments sometimes and successes. We shared our thoughts, hopes, and dreams while doing the dinner dishes together. We didn't have a dishwasher. She washed while I rinsed and let it air dry. This was a very special mother-daughter bonding time. We did this every evening. My mother was a survivor. When my dad passed away, and she was just 49, she learned to drive a car, just so she could transport my younger sisters to and from school, to do her marketing, and to attend church. It wasn't easy for her, but she had a very strong mind, sometimes almost to the point of being very stubborn. Her hands gripped the steering wheel very, very tightly, cautiously going over the bumpy roads of Kona, navigating the narrow roadways, and carefully managing the curves. Lucky thing for her, slow drivers were not given tickets in Kona back then. She held up traffic. My mom instilled her Buddhist values in my sisters and me of showing gratitude, honoring our traditions, respecting our elders, taking responsibilities very seriously, being humble and kind, and enduring difficulties. She not only talked about it, but she showed it in her actions daily. My youngest sister, Betty Takeoka, who is an active member of Kona Hongwanji Buddhist Temple, exemplifies all that is kind and gentle, so much like my mom in so many ways. She is the keeper of my mom's traditions and rituals. We follow her lead regarding memorial services, bringing flowers to the columbarium and the cemetery, and participating in Bon dances. Immediately after graduating from high school, I left for college, far, far away, an ocean and miles away in the mainland, just to get away from picking coffee, right? Those of you who know about coffee picking, and many of you are in here, you know what that's like. And you know, we attended Sunday school because if not, our parents would say, you would have to pick coffee on Sunday. So yay, we went to Sunday school every Sunday, very religiously. Well, all I took with me to college was a small suitcase and a portable Smith Corona typewriter. It was heavy. Yeah. There were no cell phones or computers, so of course, no emails or texting. We used a postal system called today snail mail. Mom's letters were handwritten. Mine, of course, were typewritten. Years later, I wondered how or when my mom found the time to write her lengthy, newsy letters during the busy coffee season while helping my dad on the farm and raising my 3 younger sisters. If she did not hear from me for about a week or so, she worried mainly about my health and well-being. My mom became an excellent writer with beautiful penmanship, while I learned to appreciate her advice and the values she religiously stressed in her letters, even from a distance. In her own subtle way, she emphasized in her letters that family comes first. Sacrifices were being made for me, so I'd better be, responsible and getting my degree on time. Remember to acknowledge kindness and with thank you letters, she said. Be sure you write out thank you letters, and with thoughtfulness. And not to forget my Buddhist upbringing and to make sensible choices and smart decisions. Moms are that powerful, at least mine was. Emma Bombeck, in all her wisdom, said, when your mom asks, do you want a piece of advice? It is merely a formality. It doesn't matter if you answer yes or no, you're going to get it anyway, right? Think about this and think about what is the best advice your mom ever gave you. Just think about that for a moment, yeah. I'm sure she gave you lots of advice, and many of them you carry with you and probably, shared with the next generation. Now I'd like to share a story with you about a mother's advice to her daughter. You may have heard this before, but it is worth sharing and listening to again, especially on this Mother's Day. And I, with my teaching background, anytime you give a talk, you need to have people remember a part of it, because after the first minute, they forget everything you said. So you need to do what is called in the classroom, show and tell. You have children bringing something and telling about it. So I have something to show and tell today, okay? I have to bring my pot and my plates. I figured you might have some of these things in your kitchen, but okay. So the story goes like this. And I'm so glad your podium has a little extension here. I didn't know that. And I thought there was one here, but then this one slides over here, right? I thought I could use both ends. Okay, so before I begin this story, I want you to look at 3 things. Okay, so this is my show and tell. So everybody knows what this is, right? What is this?
Carrot.
A carrot, okay. Can you describe this carrot? Can I have some words that describe it? Yes?
It is red.
It's best. Oh, it's bent. Oh, this one is bent. Yes, it's a crooked one, but it's still good. Okay. What else do you know about this carrot? What can you describe it? Yes. Orange, yes. We all look at it and say, oh yeah, the carrot is orange. Okay. And we all know that carrots are good in your salad, and you can cook it, and you can add it to anything. Okay, the next object. Okay. We all know what this is. Okay, what is that? An egg. Okay, it's an egg. What can you describe about an egg? Come on, you grown-ups, don't let the children outdo you. How come you're not saying anything? What can you describe an egg? Yes?
It comes out of a chicken.
Okay, yeah, that's right. What else? What else do you know about an egg?
It's white.
Yes, come on then.
I'm excited about it.
Oh, he's excited about it. Oh my God, it's still on Easter. Okay, we all know for the egg, this is something that is very fragile. If I should drop it, it'll spill out, and my gosh, it'll be a messy cleanup. Okay, so this is the egg, and I have one more thing. It's hard for you to see this, perhaps, but this is ground Kona coffee. Kona coffee, okay? Let me emphasize that. This is ground Kona coffee. So I have these three things, and of course this is, there's coffee beans, but it's been ground, so now, you know, it's very, it's in particles. So we have these three things that I'm going to talk about in this story. And the story goes like this. And I think you can relate to some of this stuff. A young woman in her 30s went to her mother one day and told her about her life and how hard things were, and very, very difficult at this stage in her life. Her job, her husband, her kids, her home, not enough money, unfulfilled dreams, and on and on. Lots of problems. She did not know how she was going to make it and wanted to just pretty much give up. She was tired of fighting and struggling every single day. It seemed that when one thing got solved or partially solved, a new one popped up. And it was very stressful and very overwhelming for her. So her mother took her to her very favorite place, which was the kitchen. And she filled 3 pots. 3 of these, gotta imagine, 3 of these. Okay, so she filled these pots with water and placed each one on a burner on high heat. What's gonna happen? It's gonna boil. Okay, so it's churning. Soon the pots came to a boil. In the first one, in the first pot, she placed the carrot. In the second one, she placed the egg. And in the third one, the ground coffee. So each one is in a different pot. I'm just trying to get you to imagine, okay? So as these things are boiling in the 3 different pots, she let them boil, and as they were waiting for it to boil, in about 10 minutes or so, she listened to her daughter some more and let her, you know, kind of vent and tell her mom everything that was bothering her. So in about 15 minutes, she went over there and turned off the flame or the heat underneath the pot. And then she took the carrot out first. And then she placed it on a plate. So she placed this carrot on the plate. Then she took the egg out of the second pot and placed it in a bowl. And finally, the ground coffee from the pot, she poured it into a cup, a coffee mug. Okay. So these 3 things are now on the table. So glad you're so attentive. I can't believe it. And this is show and tell, really works. So if you ever do a talk, you know, please use something to attract the attention. Okay, so she finally she turned to her daughter and she asked, "Tell me, what do you see?" The daughter, you know, with all this stressed out daughter, she says, "A carrot, an egg, and coffee." So her mom brought her closer and asked her to feel the carrot. Feel the carrot. She did, and she noted that from the very hard carrot, it had turned very soft. The mother then asked her to take the egg and to break it. So she did. She took off the shell and she observed the hard-boiled egg. Finally, the mother asked her daughter to sip the coffee, take a sip of it. So the daughter did. Okay, and she before she sipped it, she smiled and she smelled the smell of the coffee, the aroma, and she tasted its rich flavor. And she turned to her mother and asked, "Well, I still don't get it, Mom. What does this all mean?" Her wise mother explained that each of these objects had faced the same adversity, the boiling water, right? So you all know that phrase, "I'm in hot water," right? Many of us, we say that, we get in trouble, "I'm in hot water." Each object reacted differently. The carrot went in strong and hard and unrelenting. You can't, hard to break it. However, after being subjected to the boiling water, it softened and became weak. The egg had been fragile in its thin outer shell. The thin outer shell had protected its liquid interior. But after sitting through the boiling water, the inside became very hard. However, the ground coffee was unique. This is, an advertisement, in case you wondered, right? I'm advertising Kona coffee, right? So the ground coffee was unique. After they were in the boiling water, they actually changed the water, the color, the smell, the aroma, and the taste. So the mother asked the daughter, "Which one are you? When hard times knock on your door, how do you respond? How do you react? Are you a carrot, an egg, or ground coffee?" And you ask yourself, which one are you? Which one am I? Okay, am I the carrot that seems so strong, but with pain and hardship, do I wilt and become weak and lose my strength? So that's the carrot. We're just using analogy here, so you kind of remember. Am I the egg that starts with a soft heart, but changes with the heat? Did I have a fluid spirit, but after a death, caregiving of a loved one, a financial hardship, or some church issue even, have I become hardened, right? Hard-hearted and stiff? Does my shell look the same, but on the inside, am I bitter and tough with a stiff spirit and hardened heart? Or am I like the ground coffee? The ground coffee actually changes the hot water, the very circumstance that brings it pain. When the water gets hot, the ground coffee bean releases its fragrance and flavor. If you are like ground coffee, when things are at the worst, you get better and change the situation around you. You make a difference. So when the hour is darkest and trials are their greatest, do you elevate yourself to another level? How do you handle adversity or problems? Raise your hand if you're a carrot. How many of you can relate to an egg? How many of you finally feel like a cup of Kona coffee? Yes? So you can use this story and the comparisons of the objects and how you go through life having problems, the hot water, right? And how it can change things in your life. If you are thick-skinned like the carrot, and then you go into these problems that you have at the temple, you just pretty much say, "I give up. This is crazy. Too many problems. I'm just weak and, fading away." Are you one that goes in with lots of energy and you're so, really flexible and you're the egg, right? And I've got a big soft heart and things go wacky in any kind of situation that you might be in and you feel very down on it, then you can get very stiff about it. And next thing you know, you're a different personality. But the coffee, you change the situation. Whatever you do, you make it better. So let's hope that Kailua or Windward Buddhist Church is like Kona coffee, right? Yeah. So use this story, or if you can remember it, in any situation, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so no talk of mine is complete without a joke. So here's one for you today. This is to keep you awake, right? One early morning, a mother went in to wake up her son. You know, like mothers and sons, it's like, boys are usually sleepyheads. The mom goes, "Wake up, son, it's time to go to school." The son says, "Why, Mom? I don't want to go to school." You're not like that, right? So the mother says, "Give me 2 good reasons why you don't want to go to school." The son says, "Well, the kids hate me, and you know, the teachers hate me too." The mom says, "Okay, but those are not good enough reasons not to go to school. Come on and get ready." The son turns around to the mother and says, "Well, Mom, okay then, give me 2 reasons why I should go to school." Okay, so he challenges the mother. The mother says, with a deep breath, she goes, "Well, for one thing, you're 52 years old. And for another, you're the principal." Good, I'm glad you're awake, you heard it. Okay, so your mother and you, my mom and me, the mother-daughter relationships are one of the strongest and most powerful connections in nature. Mother and son relationships are somewhat different, but it can be strong and meaningful as well. Life doesn't come with a manual. It comes with a mother. So, if you gather as a family today or any other day, share your favorite memories of your mother, or if she's still living, let her know what you remember about her when you were little. In 2013, on the occasion of my mother's 13th year memorial service, and we had this in Kona, at the Kona Hongwanji, my sister Lorraine, some of you may know her, Dr. Lorraine Mito, embarked on a project of putting together a booklet about our mom. She gathered background information and old snapshots and quotes. She remembered quotes of our mom, and we all shared. And then she asked each of the daughters to put in input. So, you know, we all gave our input of what we remembered about our mom. And then she got to grandchildren and asked them as well to write something about mom or their grandmother and the memories that they have of her. So with the assistance of my niece, Lonnie Takeoka, she was a very active junior YBA member, and Joy knows her, a graphic designer, this booklet was produced. And this is a picture of my mom, and this is a booklet. Yeah? And so this booklet is all about my mom. So the objective, though, was to share our mom's legacy with future generations. I hope this is something that you might want to consider as a keepsake of your mom, too, so that, you know, when there's class projects all the time, the teacher will say, "Okay, children, can you go home and find out about your grandmother or great-grandmother and share pictures if you have any, and what do you know about her background?" Many of the children, their grandmothers or great-grandmothers may be gone, but if you have something like this, they can refer to it, and of course they can talk to their mom and dad and aunties and uncles, but this is a real good keepsake. So with that as an end, it has been really my pleasure to join your Sangha today. Thank you for being really a wonderful audience. I would like to invite all of you to Mo'ili'ili Hongwanji whenever you're in that side of this island. I know Reverend Bert will agree with me that it is a very special place to be, isn't it? Yes. Okay. So let's put our hands together in kansho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much. I put my kitchenware away.
Thank you, Nancy. I agree with you. Mo'ili'ili is a special place because when we returned from the Big Island, we first started her church at Mo'ili'ili Hongwanji. And my daughter Tracy was at Mo'ili'ili Hongwanji preschool. So she started her journey there. So it's a special place for us as well. Okay, thank you so much. Please rise now for Gatha Hotokesama number 2, page 74 in the Brown Praises of the Buddha book. Page 74, Hotokesama 2. Please remain standing for the Nembutsu. It can be found in the service book on page 107. Thank you.
Listen to the voice of the Dharma. Listen to the birds singing in the morning, the wind sighing in the boughs overhead, and the roar of the waves on the beach. Listen to the rain on the roof and the snow falling in the fields. Do we have the ears to hear and listen? Listen to the Nembutsu in the Hondo. Listen to the noble silence of the Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you. Please be seated. This ends our service this morning. We have announcements, Prudence.
Good morning. And thank you, Nancy. That, of course, Kona coffee. I say that because I come from Kona, too. Then I know exactly what she says when you run away from Kona because you don't want to pick coffee anymore. All right. We have some guests today. Bailey Greisler. Bailey's sitting right there behind us. Welcome. Nice to see you. Okay, thank you for the volunteers that we had today. Merle for being our MC. Oh, I don't even say my name. I'm Prudence, by the way. I mean, most of you know, the guests don't know me. That's why I introduce people, you know, because many times you don't know who's your MC. Your MC was Merle, pianist was Lisa, and Lisa's team is also her team that is providing us our refreshments today. And she says she had a special worker today, Everly. Hey, Everly. Everly's sitting right here. She helped him. And so let's see. Next week, we will have our Gotang-e or Shinran Shonin's birthday service. And our guest speaker will be Reverend Makino. So for those of you that know, Reverend Makino was also a resident minister at Mo'ili'ili. I guess all the good ministers from Mo'ili'ili eventually come to Kailua. Or maybe he went the other way. In any case. All right. The thing is, the Buddhist Study Center has every year they have a summer session, and they usually invite some speaker from the mainland. And so I have one of the flyers posted, but this year it's going to be from June 20th to the 24th, and the special speaker is Dr. Scott Mitchell. He's apparently the dean at the Buddhist
IBS.
Oh, okay. It's upside down here. Anyway, look, they printed it like this and then the upside down. Anyway, I think I don't know if he's going to be here or whether it's going to be virtual, but you can sign up. The registration is free. You can sign up virtually, or they said a few limited in-person seats are available. So that starts in June. And his topic is
American Buddhism.
Jodo Shinshu and the making of American Buddhism. So, let's see. And today is Bingo Sunday. So for those of you that like bingo, come every second Sunday. We have bingo. Let's see. Any other announcements? Otherwise, let's say the words of thanksgiving before we leave this hondo and go next door for refreshments. And refreshments can be takeaway as well, but those of you that want to stay behind and socialize, please do so. Words of thanksgiving can be found in the red book, little red book, and it's on page 126. We can put our hands together. We are truly grateful for this wonderful food, a gift of life. May we share its benefits with all beings. As we partake of this food, let us remember Amida Buddha's compassion, which surrounds all people and all forms of life. Namo Amida Butsu. Itadakimasu. Thank you.
So if anybody's interested in taking a look at this, I'll be glad to share it with you. So they'll be up here. I said I made him hungry.